feel like dog shit all the time. Sweat all the time. Stink all the time.
I stink all the time anyways.
I know. Oh, it's awful. It's like you think you stink all the time. You have no idea. Like it's you get out of the shower and you smell yourself. And you're like, how is this fucking possible? And I'm not exaggerating about that. I mean, it is.
I believe you.
It is awful. You will turn sheets yellow in a week. It's disgusting.
I had in junior high, I had a geography teacher. Man, his armpits were always he just yellow through the shirts entirely. And he was also, it was super weird. When he would need to fart in the middle of class, he would cough and stomp his foot to try to cover the fart.
Oh my God.
But then everyone knew he was farting because he was coughing and stomping his foot to cover the fart.
Yeah.
So, weird dude.
Yeah, what a fucking guy he is.
Like, just fart.
Zone it, bro. What's wrong with you? Get your shit together. Arizona. What can be done? Priority improvements. Can still be sold in Australia. Okay. Oh, here we go. Ah. The EP. Interesting. What's this? Oh. Have you ever heard of Proviron?
No, I don't think I have.
You can read about Proviron too. DM me your goals. Well, I guess we're not live. Tell me, think about it. Map it out.
We just went members only, but
just map out what your goals are, and then we can build towards that. And typically, PCT is reserved for for when you come off of TRT.
Gotcha.
So if you go from something like back to TRT, you don't PCT. I call it blasting and cruising, right? So
yeah,
you don't PCT. It's only when you come off completely that you PCT. And typically you allocate like 12 weeks, right? Let everything leave your system, and then HCG, HMG, maybe enclomiphene, something like that, raloxifene, tamoxifen, just to get you going again.
Shaylee, to answer your question, so this weekend was a lot of effort into the truck bed swap, which ended up kind of, so it was funny because we got further than what Eric thought we would. We had so much initial success that I was kind of defeated on the last bolt. I was kind of depressed almost. So, but Eric didn't think he was like, I thought we were going to have to cut out every single bolt. He's like, he's like, the way, everything else with your truck is gone. He's like, I thought we were going to be cutting holes in the bed around the bolts just so we could get the bed free. But we didn't have to do that.
Jay Pink was sending me pictures of bolts that sheared off.
Yeah, so I was underneath with that torch. And then he was on top with the impact. And it was funny because he could feel the head of the bolt, how hot it was. He managed to, let me throw this in the thread. He managed to get a pretty great picture of one of the bolts right after he pulled it out. I was underneath. He's on top. There's those two pictures in the thread. And that smoky bolt was just kind of perfect. Yes, David Clausen, he peels the head when he's on top.
Oh, yeah, look at that. It's a hot-ass bolt.
Yeah, you can see it like even started to melt the bed liner where the bolt is.
Those torches are pretty fucking awesome, aren't they?
Yeah. But
that's how it went on the underside of the bed. That's interesting.
Yeah. And so there's definitely more rust now, and I blame that on all the road treatments they did in January.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But yeah, that torch.
You don't, Dave?
That torch, I think really saved us. I think the two bolts that sheared halfway down, I think those were already broken basically the first day we tried after we got the bed back. I think those snapped that day.
Yeah.
But yeah. What I'm wondering though, if you look at that picture where I'm hitting it with the torch, I don't know if we'd be able to weld something on the bottom. Just twist it out the rest of the way.
Yeah.
From the bottom.
Hell yeah. You just weld the nut to it and then
just twist the nut.
Put a wrench on it.
Oldest trick in the book. Well done.
Fill the top side of it with fucking WD-40.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's just it. I all week long I was spraying penetrant on all the bolts. So then the first thing I did, I was like, well, let's see how flammable all this PB blaster is with the torch, and then definitely
it goes pretty quick.
I did start a small fire underneath the truck. We had a bottle of water and a fire extinguisher nearby. I was able to just spritz it down, and so then I just rubbed all the loose surface rust off, sprayed it all down, and then hit the torch. And man, you find out real fast which of those hot pieces of rust you didn't wipe off. Because when Eric starts, hitting it with the impact and everything's vibrating and all that molten rust is sprinkling down onto your arms, it's a good time.
Yeah, that's why I like welding overhead. Is when the slag starts to fall on you, and it burns a quarter of an inch through layers of your skin, and then you have to spend the next couple days trying to dig it out. It's awesome. It's so much fun.
Luckily, it wasn't bad.
At this point, I'm so used to it. It's one of those things. You're just like, don't react, just keep going. The one time I did react pretty good though was when it fell into my eye. Wearing glasses and a welding helmet, I still managed to get a piece of slag into my eye.
Mm-hmm. And you know why, Matt? I'll tell you why.
Murphy's Law. God hates me.
glasses. Safety glasses to me don't do fuck. I don't like to see people in safety glasses actually. Because if there's a eye injury hazard, you know what the actual standard is? Tight-fitting goggles plus
Yeah.
a supplementary shield. I mean, anybody with safety glasses on, I'm going to tell them, stop acting, get the fuck out of here. Get that fucking shit off. You know, you're not proving anything.
I was lucky. It went into my eye, like in the corner, you know, and so it didn't affect my vision. But it legitimately took a couple weeks for it to work its way out. That one I got a little panicked on. Same thing as when I bent over and I put the model rocket rod, the launch rod, actually penetrated into my eye too. I thought that was it for my eye there. My eyeball was actually bleeding, and that scared the shit out of me. To this day, it still gives me the heebie-jeebies thinking about it. And man, that next day when my eye was swollen, it hurt so fucking bad. It was so bad. I was really freaked out. But after the first day, it really didn't hurt a whole lot more, and it healed perfectly. No vision issues. It wanders a little bit. I'm just kidding. It was actually this eye. It doesn't wander. It seems to be doing fine. Hello, Mr. Herring. Welcome to the members only pre-show. We're doing truck talk. We're doing welding talk. We're doing hot bolts and flaming penetrant.
Flaming metal
JPEG,
objects.
I gotta ask, when you were playing with the torch,
Yes.
did you just spray the penetrant into the flame?
No.
No, come on.
No.
You gotta hit it once.
Do the Elon Musk not a flamethrower? No, but Eric and I made a deal that if the truck caught fire, I would drive it out of the garage to save his house.
Oh,
And
shit.
I told him that's fair.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I'll think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, Kelly was hot air ballooning in Arizona when we were doing it.
Jesus
So it's like,
Christ, man.
yeah, it's like, yeah, let's not have Kelly come home to the house burnt down.
Let's see here. Commercialized product.
So right now what the plan is, Matt, is once that last bolt is free, I've got 3 new bolts in there, not torqued down to any spec by any means. The tailgate's off. The gas neck is basically free. So the idea is I'll just drive it off to the scrapyard, remove the final bolts, and be like, here you go.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably leave the bed off for a little bit and take like a week and do some framing cleanup and stuff. So just leave it in the parking lot, you know, no truck bed, and make everyone be like, man, that guy, he's trash.
The fuck you have no idea, motherfucker. You don't know
Best
what
kind
I
of
did
trash.
to get this goddamn truck bed off either.
Yeah,
Iowa trash.
Iowa
Best
trash.
kinds.
Yeah.
You fit in well in Tennessee, I'll say that. Oh, I'm just gonna put that there too.
DeMay, you joined about perfect timing. Matt's already got all these tagged.
Yeah, I ran through.
Some
and
of them
had
I
them.
tagged just for the lulls, right? Like in returns,
I know.
2 of them are just to be funny. I tag that way.
I'm trying to
And then a couple of the
find-
burns, you know, I figured we just loop those together, and we'll make the majority of the returns also burns. 2 of the 3.
I tell you, I have not yet burnt off an entire eyebrow.
I can say I haven't either. I have removed a good section of like arm hair, some of my eyebrow, definitely beard and shit, but I've never removed a whole thing. But I have, and even in my youth, we used to do a lot of field parties in my youth. Shout out to all my Southern boys here who, well, fuck, any living folk who were here that did field parties in high school. If you've built a large enough pallet fire and fucked around with gasoline, from a distance, I guarantee you have removed a significant chunk of arm hair in your history.
Remember those? This is maybe a little before your time. It's definitely after race time. So they had like not the Nerf like baseball and bat, but like the harder but yet soft like play bats that you could like hit a home run. And it was like softer than a tennis ball, but harder than like a Nerf ball.
Yeah.
So we used to soak them in kerosene and then light them on fire, and we'd play baseball with them.
Dude. Been fucking there, my friend. Soak it in diesel fuel. Let someone just lob it at you and swing for the fences 100%. And the spray that comes off of it is a good time.
Yes.
Hey, I've done one worse. You want to talk about Elon Musk's not a flamethrower? Guess what happens?
You did, right?
No, guess what happens when you have a vintage stainless steel and brass Hudson sprayer? It's got thousands of gallons of diesel at your disposal. And me, what I do is I get some coat hanger wire and I tie a cotton wick close to the nozzle. I used to use that to burn field. I used to use that to burn field. Yeah, Gramps and I.
I thought you were detonating a tank, and I was like, "Holy fucking shit, Ray!"
No, Matt. Nothing
I'm
like
thinking
that.
thousands of gallons of a diesel fuel tank going at one time.
No,
I was like,
it was
wow.
it was bulk diesel, so it's like, yeah, I could just keep on filling that Hudson sprayer as needed, but then I had a way such that I just pressed the trigger. 15 feet of flaming fuel out the nozzle.
We got something from May here. I just queued up.
Oh yeah, cue it up. Go ahead and play this.
Hold on.
Oh Jesus! I've got a message. Why do I keep getting DMs and message requests?
They're not your friend.
Think for a moment about the concept of the flamethrower. Okay?
It's for
the
you, Ray.
flamethrower, because we have them. Well, we don't have them. The Army has them. That's right. We don't have any flamethrowers. I'd say we're fucked if we have to go up against the Army, wouldn't you? But we have flamethrowers. And what this indicates to me, it means that at some point, some person said to himself, gee, I sure would like to set those people on fire over there. But I'm way too far away to get the job done. If only I had something that would throw flame on them. Well, it might have ended right there, but he mentioned it to his friend who was good with tools. And about a month later, he was back. Hey, quite a concept. Of course, the Army heard about it, and they came around. We'd like to buy about 500,000 of them, please. We have some people we'd like to throw flame on. Give us 500,000 and paint them dark brown. We don't want anyone to see them.
Little George. Little George.
Good old George, and good old George was not wrong at all, because at some point in time, and you know what? That was not a new concept, because in the day, the Greeks used to have a way of propelling a mix of burning sulfur and asphalt. Greek fire.
You guys saw the stuff about that AI generated George Carlin special, right?
Oh no.
Supposedly it was a AI generated a George Carlin special with a bunch of jokes and everything, all in the George Carlin style. And then George Carlin's estate sued. Now, during all the course of all this lawsuit, I guess now it's coming out that they're saying, well, actually a human wrote it, not AI. So I don't know what to believe.
Do what?
Yeah, so apparently they tried to say, look at this new George Carlin special that was written by AI, but it really wasn't. All the jokes were written by a human. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to save him on the lawsuit any, but
No, probably not. I mean, impersonating the likeness of George Carlin? No. They're screwed.
Wow. I forgot that there was a super long podcast I wanted to cut up for Geno's Turf, so I don't know. I'm going to do that. I got to find. Oh, shit. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, where'd it go?
Yeah, Brent. At a young age, I was told you don't fool around with gasoline. And that's why
Oh, Christ. Yeah.
I've had, my eyebrows and my hair largely intact. Of course, not to say that my grandfather wasn't nuts because it's, yeah, Ray, you want to burn stuff, do it with diesel. Works better.
My uncles used to like to make acetylene bombs. We would just
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
grocery bag full of acetylene and throw it in the stream. The other thing was to take a diamond cutter and cut a little hole in like a light bulb, put some gunpowder in it, and then patch the hole back up and stick it in a light socket.
Mm-hmm.
Just to say hello when someone would walk into the room.
Quite possibly the funnest thing that we ever did. I think it was the summer I turned 13. This has been 1996. We went to a garage sale and bought a microwave for like $5.
Mm-hmm.
Took it out to my buddy's place who lived out in the country. So a couple 100-foot extension cords, packed that bitch full of aluminum foil and a 1 gallon can of gasoline, and then just put it on 99.99, and it was about a minute and a half later, and she went up.
It went.
It's a good time.
I mean, for it was $5. Gas was $1.25 back in those days. Like, what else are you gonna do in a summer day to kill 3 hours? Round trip.
Dissolve a bunch of styrofoam in it.
For 6
months.
Oh yeah,
And,
the ketchup bottles.
Yeah.
Get it in a ketchup bottle. That was always the best one to spray it out of. Go down to the. That was another favorite one. Go down to the recycling center. They had the thing where you had to drop the recycling off, and they'd have you split it all up. So we'd go in there and we'd steal all the glass bottles and make Molotovs and go throw them around at shit. Oh man.
Oh, I remember what I made out of this particular torch fuel that was essentially mostly sodium chlorate. And that led to some interesting compositions. Because apparently it's shock sensitive and heat sensitive when combined with the appropriate fuels. For example, table sugar and chlorates. Yeah. Doesn't take much to get that to go off, and I have a big area in the back patio where that thing went off in a bright flash. Oh yeah, Tully, napalm is easy. All you need for that is just let some styrofoam melting gas.
Oh yeah. You just you jelly up
it's
gas
too
with
easy.
styrofoam, and it is
It's too easy.
nice.
Yeah, not a big deal. But personally, I don't like gasoline too much because it burns too quick.
Do we need to talk to Jesse about what we can and can't say on air? I don't know at what point I don't know at what point someone from, ATF is knocking on our door. Or Ray's.
Well, gee, I mean, they haven't knocked on my door yet. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because, hell, I'm on the list of people in Hawaii that order nitrates.
DeMay, do you need a little bit more time yet? Or
No, you can go ahead and run it. I'll figure something out here.
okay.
I'll get her sorted.
Well, if you boys are ready, we'll do a show.
Golden.
Yeah, we're good.
As business owners, entrepreneurs, family men, it's difficult for us to find the time to put together projects like these. Even though it's something we really want to do, unfortunately, taking care of the things we have to take care of comes first. However, because of viewer support for people like you, we're able to continue doing this. Please consider joining our Patreon and supporting the Burn and Return podcast. You're listening to Burn and Return, a weekly 1-hour podcast covering news from the agricultural and turfgrass industries.
Boo is right. Welcome everyone. It's another episode of Burn and Return. My name is Matt. Sometimes I go by the Grass Factor Martin. And today we are coming at you not live. We're actually recording it live, but we are not coming at you live unless you're one of the patron members. And we're going to be talking about some of the things that are going on in the world. I will say that this week I feel like maybe it's because I was a bit more detached, but I felt like the news was not quite as in your face this week. I don't know. Was that a me thing, or is that reality? Because it was strange. It's like, they had the Super Bowl parade. There was a shooting there. And typically when there's a mass shooting like that, when, 21 people catch bullets or whatever, that dominates the headlines and is up your ass so aggressively that you don't shit for a week. And I don't know. It was all kind of that went away quick. I didn't hear a whole lot about us, raining hellfire missiles on Iranian-backed militia groups, and or so. I don't know. I felt like news-wise on the geopolitical scale, aside from the what's his name, the Russian dude getting murked in prison. But I mean, is anybody surprised? Like, oh, another Russian dude got killed in prison. I'm fucking shocked, man. Wow.
Oh yeah, surprise! I mean, if you didn't see that one coming.
I know. I'm like, why does that even make the news? Like, is it that important? I mean, that's a given, right? Oh, okay. All right. Anyway,
I mean,
matter of
JPEG
time.
just to make a valid point here in the background. You guys can't hear this. I can. We communicate telepathically, but he did mention that part of the reason that maybe the headlines weren't so salacious or busy or nonstop was that people were just busy fucking this week. A lot of fucking.
That is true. It was
I
Valentine's
hope so.
Day. I hope everyone had a great Valentine's Day.
Had a good shag.
Babies all over the place, all over the walls, mirrors, paintings. Just
I couldn't hit the floor if I aimed straight down.
Yeah, just all of it is just covered in a layer of human degrading filth.
It's not filth and it's not degrading, Matt.
Call it the
No,
Cal
I mean
farm
that.
there.
Yeah, that's I mean, we shouldn't think of that as being dirty or wrong. I mean, that's not correct
I don't
at
know.
all.
Spraying it all over the walls it could be a little unsanitary. I mean, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
There.
Peter
yeah,
North, we're
that
looking
that
at
could be a
you.
bit. Yeah, that could be a bit much. I mean, yeah, that stuff is hard to get off of wallpaper.
Honey, the steamer's not working. I don't know what to do. Yeah, I don't know either. Outside of that, there are a couple things. I will say that if anybody's paying attention to the ag commodity sector, and we're not going to cover a whole lot of that today, and so that's why I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up. Ag commodities from a crop side of things, so your soybean, corn, all that. Boy, those prices have plummeted. So let's hope our farmers are not holding on to just mountains of debt right now in their COVID expansion plans that everyone got to take on and take on the notes with because boy, soybeans are way down, corn is way down. There's no more good news coming out about it. All the news that continues to come out is bearish and yeah, looks like all those high prices they got to make in the previous couple of years. Boy, they're going to have to pay all that back right now, and so that means really moving into next year as well too. They'll be paying that back. So, like I said, hopefully they're not carrying too much of a debt burden. But I mean, if we let our country guide us as a whole, it seems like carrying debt right now is none of it fucking matters. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, we're what, $34 trillion in debt, and we're not broke yet. So it's just paper.
Yeah,
It's not real. It's just a number on a monitor. You just act. Yeah,
yeah.
even when it
Keep
says
printing
zero, that
money.
doesn't mean zero. Yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah, yeah. Keep on printing money, Matt, because that's
We
the
don't get
interesting
money
thing.
printers. Can you get one on eBay?
No, but you know what the worst part is that why is it, Matt, that if all of us here on this panel and all of us in the audience, if we run our bank account to zero, everything gets shut off? Why is it that the government can run past zero and everything is A-OK?
Well,
What is up with that?
Debt to GDP
Yeah,
ratio and all that. It's all according
what
to
is up
Driver,
with
it's all
that?
fake anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What was it I heard the other day? 2/3 of our budget, is accounted for by positive numbers, and then 1/3 of it is guaranteed to be borrowed, and that anything beyond that 1/3. So that's just our budget, right? So anything that happens that's not part of the budget is just continue to
Mhm.
being printed. So we print 1/3 of our budget as it is, and it keeps going from there. That makes me feel awesome. By the way, speaking of feeling awesome, let's check out what's in this week's headlines. I'm sure it's going to be really redeeming. Just full of joy today. I might have to paint my walls tonight, honey. Put the sheets up over the walls. Number one here that we're going to talk about is the EU Commission is set to scrap a plan to have pesticide use after the farmers' protests. Interesting. So last week we were talking about the farmers' protests, and people in France were not happy. In fact, no one across the EU right now is happy related to the WEF and all these plans that they had, for reining in out of control agriculture, which is, I think, one of the headlines I read. So as a result of that, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on Tuesday proposed withdrawing the EU's plan to have the use of pesticides, calling a symbol of polarization as regional farmers protested over rising costs and other factors. Our farmers deserve to be listened to. I know that they're worried about the future of agriculture and their future as farmers, but they also have to know that agriculture needs to move to a more sustainable model of production so that their farms can remain profitable in the years to come. European farmers have protested in recent weeks against
there.
rising
Stop
costs.
right there, Matt. Yeah, stop right there, Matt, because sustainable and profitable, I think people need to be careful about the definitions, because sustainable is not necessarily profitable, because time and time again, sustainability means giving up a lot, and also means giving up productivity. So therefore, I'd like to still know, what do these people actually eat? These people that promote all of these mandates and initiatives that basically shut down productive agriculture as we know it. I still want to know, what the hell do they eat, actually?
I almost had a 4-letter word I was going to say there, and it sounds like dick, but I didn't say it. And
Mhm.
I don't know why, but I was thinking it right, and I was like, well, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, not yet, but
I mean,
not yet.
and I think like one of the frustrations that you see out of Europe, and I don't know if anyone saw the headline this week, and it came from the EWG, so I don't even want to talk about it on the show, but it was another pesticide has shown
Mhm.
up in grain in the U.S., and it is a
Yeah.
pesticide that has been banned in the U.S. for a long period of time. And they're like, it's been banned here. Why is it in 80% of sampled urine cases and 90% of the grain we sample? Oh, because we're importing the grain from countries that are still able to use it, because the cost of importing the grain is cheaper than it is to be able to grow it here, right? So exactly
Mhm.
like you said, Ray, sustainable doesn't always mean profitable. But here's the thing, is that I don't think there's any farmer out there, like legitimately, there's no farmer out there rubbing his hands together and is like,
Yeah.
I want to find the nastiest fucking pesticides I possibly can and soak this shit everywhere I can.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
one thinks like that. Everyone
That's
is
the
so
thing.
scared about every dollar they have coming out of their sprayer or
Yeah.
out of their spreader that
Mm,
they're going to be
mm.
exceptionally mindful of what they're doing. And anyway, yes, mistakes get made, and there does need to be concerted effort to try and minimize the number of mistakes and mitigate the amount of damage that does occur from said mistakes. However, I just can't help but feel like the insanity of our news cycle creates this narrative, right? And the narrative is to invoke so much emotion that every response has to be as hyperbolic as possible. We need the most antithetical extremes only to be printed in the news. Only
Yeah.
wild
Yeah.
ass extremes, right? Farmers
Mhm.
are poisoning you and your children, and you're all going to fucking die. And then on the
Yep.
other end, is like uh, 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 farmers are saying, they want to. What was it that Joe Biden said? They want to put you back in chains. I think it's along that same line.
Jeez.
They want to put
That
you
was
back
Joe
in
Biden
chains,
that said it,
although
wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah, that was. However, Matt, the
Again,
reality
hyperbolic,
is
just
that,
fucking extremism, man. It's crazy.
however, the truth is, and this is the actual truth, is that in order for these utopian mandates to succeed, here's the reality. How many of us are going to have to starve to death or go without in order for these mandates to actually be practical? How many of
Until and
us?
we do have a new technology that's coming up later that we can talk about, and I think these are the types of technological developments that have to happen so we can say that, yeah, I do see a clear path here where 20% of the population is going to have to fucking starve to death to make it reality.
Mhm. But
What
then,
were you going to
Matt,
say, DeMay?
the other
Oh, go ahead.
wait,
Go ahead,
wait,
Ray.
though,
You go
because the
first.
other problem is that the mandates are getting pushed and pushed hard without the technology to make the old obsolete. Because you see, Matt, me coming from the old days, right? I can see where there are some things where I always tell you guys, man, I am so thankful we don't really fuck around with that stuff anymore, because that stuff was horrible. I mean, I say that all the time. And I don't know any grower that, as you said, that's rubbing his hands together and saying, man, I want to use the craziest shit on this field that I can possibly get my hands on, and I want to use it at double the label rate. I don't know of any grower that wants to do that anywhere in the world, because that grower is thinking darn well, first of all, to do that is going to cost him money. And second of all, I'm sure he's thinking, looking at the skull and the crossbones on his bottle, man, I take my life in my own hands every time I touch this stuff. So this narrative on the media that paints these farmers and producers as people that don't care, nothing could be further from the truth.
Talk to me.
I,
DeMay.
I, a little bit in the same vein as what Ray is saying. I wonder if what you both just said is true on both accounts. And what I mean by that is this: is that the narrative that, again, it is the farmers, the growers, the turf managers, whoever, right, that are the ones who are pillaging the environment by using the most lethal and toxic substances that they possibly can and putting them down in vast amounts at high frequency just to achieve some whatever superficial goal that they want to achieve. And again, we know that's not true. Okay. And if you look at how this headline is written, right, they basically say that, well, it's the farmers' protest that have done this. And if you look at that, they're basically using the farmers, right? And say, well, they bitched too much, so we had to relent. But I wonder if what Matt said is true, and what Ray said too. I wonder if it is that the data has been presented in such a way that people realize that, hey, yeah, you can't just, turn the valve and shut this all off and everything's fine, right? That simply doesn't exist. It's a fantasy land. So again, I think that maybe that's what's happening. I hope that's what's happening, is that people are realizing that, hey, maybe we ought to pump the brakes on this a little bit. And as we've talked about numerous times on the show, maybe we should be looking at more of the technological advances first before, we take such drastic measures. Okay. So it's just really interesting to me. What struck me about before we even read the first word in the article itself was that it still makes the farmers look bad. Well, hey, again, because you guys are bitching, we'll let it ride this time, and that's not the case. I think everybody is saying that if you take a pragmatic approach to this, people are going to get hurt from this, and not just economically, right, but from a sustainability standpoint of you need to sustain a population, right? And here's where we are, right? We're not going to be able to do that if you take these tools out of our hands. So I'm sure that some environmentalists will come on here and say that, well, Ryan, you're just, sitting up here and you're advocating for the industry and, agrochemical producers and things of that nature. But the fact of the matter is we all got to work together. Like it or not, we all work together. And there will never, I'm going to say never say never. Never be a day where there's not some type of pesticide used on a crop that we use to sustain daily life. How about that?
Okay.
They'll come back in 2824 and be like, well, see, May, you fucked up. We got you, bitch.
Okay.
You remember that asshole on YouTube? What a piece of shit.
Or what will happen is, what if we find
on his grave.
That, hey, some of the stuff, because it works, it just works, period, and the costs or downsides don't outweigh the benefits, that we still have to do this? Because you know what the most interesting case to me is? The case of something that was discovered in the early 1800s that they're still using tons of that to this day. And you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about copper.
Condoms. Oh.
No, copper.
No.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say
copper.
You're going to say spermicidal lube.
Spermicidal lube, but yeah, but then
where's the organic? Wait, when can I get the organic spermicidal lube? When's that coming? Huh? Where are we at on that, environmentalists?
Yeah, where are we at? But then the whole issue here is that
they can't find it.
The people that are anti-modern agriculture, I don't see them coming up with solutions such that a significant portion of the population will not have to be unalive. I don't see them. I don't see those solutions because you see, these utopians promise, yes, we'll get rid of the pesticides, we'll get rid of the fertilizers. And once we do that, the world will be wonderful again. But what these guys are not telling you is crop yields will go down and there will be pestilence and filth. Okay? That's what
Hear,
the
hear.
utopians don't tell us. I mean, they don't tell us that because I also think back to this non-ag related situation that has resulted in people dying, and the environmentalists, they specifically petitioned countries in Africa and Asia to stop using DDT for malaria mosquitoes. And the places that stopped doing that, guess what happened to the people in those countries? Those people had to deal with malaria. And that is an example of, okay, there's less DDT used, but who
I think didn't
is
they
gonna be
also give them
hurt by that?
hydroxychloroquine like a little bit after that too?
No,
Can I even say
no,
that
and,
word
and
on
if,
air?
no,
I
and
don't
Matt,
even know
and
if I
here's
can
the
say
thing
that
about
anymore.
hydroxychloroquine. The problem with
For
malaria in a
malaria?
lot of these countries is that the malaria parasite in those countries is resistant to hydroxychloroquine. Hydroxychloroquine doesn't even work on it anymore. So you take away DDT, hydroxychloroquine doesn't work anymore. And so this is just a spiral of death that was created by some very well-meaning people, I'm sure. I don't think that they're malevolent or evil, but they
Unless
saw,
unless we're talking about Klaus Schwab, I don't care who you are. That guy's an X-Men character, and he gives me the holy hell of heebie-jeebies of holy
yeah,
heebie-jeebies.
he gives me the yikes too, Mac. He gives me the yikes too. But then what I'm saying is that, okay, these people meant well, but then their mandate caused a problem. And these people that come up with these mandates, I have yet to see one come back and admit, oh God, we screwed up. I mean, we meant well, we thought we were doing good, but look at all these people dying. Man, did we fuck up. I've never heard one of these environmentalists come back and admit it.
No, and I'm sure they would turn that into some way of improper implementation, and you killed yourselves, dumbasses. Stop doing your own research. Good news, and this is like these are these types of developments that have to happen to give clear paths towards changes in modern ag, right? So here we have a company
Time's up. It's over.
called Arable Lab that has developed a bio-based broad-spectrum herbicide that is developed from soybeans. And this company has a ton of soy-based products. They're doing soy-based plastics, high melt point waxes, all kinds of stuff. But they have started the EPA paperwork on this. And I will say that there are several companies in this vein that I am aware of that are doing this type of research, and especially now with the number of databases that occur, and of course with language learning models, the ability to start parsing through a lot of these to develop them. There should be theoretically a pretty rapid increase in the rate of development. We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. This is going to be another burn down product, right? So, there's a lot of ways to do burn downs, and there's, you can use, fatty acids and all kinds of stuff to do burn down. So, it might not be just, the most world changing thing. But again, if it's an opportunity for you to get away from dicot and move to something like this and still have the same degree of burn down, right? That would be a net positive. Okay. If it's something that you can take mix with glyphosate, that would be a net positive, right? I promise no one out there is fawning to have more and more and more diquat at their disposal to use, or paraquat, right? Like
Oh my gosh.
no one is out there just begging, please God, sign me up to spray the diquat today. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm a fan of this, and I love that they have
Mhm.
been able to get to this point where they can already start to petition the EPA. Again, this is going to be a $4 to $12 million investment just to get through the EPA side of testing, and then you have commercialization. So all said and done, this could be $25 million just to get to commercialization. That doesn't even include the building of the manufacturing facility, the scaling of the manufacturing process. So all said and done, this may be $250 million for this one product to go from lab scale to market, right? And that's intense. A lot of money.
That's huge.
So hopefully it works well.
But that's huge because are there any toxicity or hazard red flags on this new technology? Because I know for a lot of the old standards, most of which I'm familiar with, there has been a known toxicity issue, both human and environmental toxicity. So, and I'm suspecting that being that this is plant-based, EPA, barring any kind of unusual toxicity hazards, the positive may be that this gets fast-tracked because it doesn't raise the red flags. Because, for example, if it's not a carcinogen, if it does not cause organ damage at low doses, if it's not environmentally persistent, that basically passes the things that would hold back a product. Because I'm suspecting that given the EPA's registration and re-registration process, anything that meets those red flags and it's toxic or environmentally persistent, we ain't going to have them. And if they're already on the market, they're going away. That's just reality.
Yep. Also in this vein, we have FMC, who is releasing a new insecticide. Everyone drum roll. We've got a big one coming up right now. This is going to be called Durentis, and we're going to look at the label real quick, and it's chlorantraniliprole.
It's double concentrate chlorantraniliprole. Nothing new.
Yeah, so we got another. Okay. I was hoping for new technology. It's not. It's a relabel, but higher concentration. So that means
lower prices.
Your cost per acre is probably going down. Right? Maybe your cost per
Yeah.
acquisition goes up, but your cost per acre goes down. Which hey,
Hey,
good for you.
I was talking
You're getting
with,
it down cheaper.
I was talking with a pro applicator on the Discord about Durentis, and if he can get Durentis, his application cost per acre for grub control, season-long grub control, is cut by half versus using the brand name Acelyprid.
See that's a net win. Hey, look, if they're not going to give us new technology, at least give us a way to save 50% on costs. I can't be mad at that.
Yeah.
Let's check out this week's burns. Did I do that out of order? Where am I? I did. I did that out of order.
You did, but
We're good.
we'll make it
Go
work.
for it.
Okay. All right. Here, we'll do
Let's
this.
burn.
We'll do this.
Let's burn.
Let's get a little toasty here. Park Commission still has a plan for herbicides in Lake George. If anybody remembers this, this is our
We're
Asian
on the ship.
Here,
Asian
oh,
milfoil.
for goodness sake.
Yeah. And so anyway, it turns out that they are not done. What is the name of the herbicide that they're looking at using here? Procellus.
Procellicor.
Yeah,
Procellicor.
Procellicor. Buddy, we're not dead yet. We are still fighting this fight. We are in it, and damn it, we are going to give it all that we have. A hearing on their appeal of that decision is set for March. Any decision that comes from that will likely be announced in May. As you know, the commission is waiting for an appellate decision regarding the APA's permitting of Lake George's Priscilla Core. Dave Wick, executive director of the Lake George Park Commission, wrote in a statement, nothing has changed the commission's stance regarding our intent to utilize Priscilla Core in the 2 bays that we had approval for 2 years ago. The plan has been to use the herbicide in Blair's Bay and Sheep Meadow Bay along the eastern shore of the lake's northern basin. The Lake George Association and Lake George Waterkeeper challenge herbicide use remain skeptical, however. The Lake George Association and Lake George Waterkeeper steadfastly oppose this plan, and we will use the full power of our resources to prevent this herbicide from entering Lake George. Anyway, Euro Asian MILF oil is spreading like wildfire, and everyone does not know what to do about it. I'm not even going to go there. But anyway, it is not dead. It is not dead. They are still fighting it, and they are damn it. They want to do something about it, and they had approval to use it in 2 places. And boy, these guys are real triggered about them using it those 2 approved places. So again, it continues to linger, and we'll watch what happens. How are these people so afraid of Asian MILF oil?
No, why are these
kind of-
people so afraid of something that has minimal toxicity compared to the old standards for aquatic weed control? Because
I think
I could see them.
don't-
I could see them getting sketchy if, say, the proposal was, let's drop Diquat 2,4-D, acrolein, or endothol into Lake George. Then I could see concern.
if they're not getting excited about tackling Asian MILFs, then clearly they don't get erections anymore, right? EPA issues existing stocks order for dicamba. Cotton and soybean farmers can still use extended mass. And let me kind of loop this together here, where I'm going to bring 2 of them in, right? So the U.S. court banned 3 weed killers and found the EPA broke the law in the approval process, right? So the whole thing is that, like, all right, dicamba, extendamax, Ingenia, Tavium, y'all got to get the fuck out. Y'all are done. We're getting rid of you. The EPA done fucked up allowing you to do this. You didn't listen to enough people. There's been enough crop damage to occur. You're done. Donezo, over. So now, it's trying to figure out, it's like, well, we still have manufactured stock. Do we make the manufacturers just eat it and move on, or are they allowed to go ahead and at least use up existing stocks? And it turned out that they said, yeah, you can go ahead and use up existing stocks, and you have to end date. You have an end date for sale and distribution in Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana. You got May 13th for Extendamax and Jenny and Tavium, and then for use is June 13th, and no one is going beyond July 30th, and that is going to be in cotton, June 30th in soybean. And so anyway, basically summer of this year, it's done. It's gone. Thank you. Now, they're stroking off the EPA as if, they're just God's gift to earth. And I'm sure they're just deserve every moment of it. But anyway, yeah, so it's over. Thank you for playing along. Thank you for coming. It's done. I was going to read this real quick from the Guardian, real quick.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Dealing
Oh,
a blow
man.
to 3 of the world's biggest agrochemicals, a U.S. court this week banned 3 weed killers widely used in American agriculture, finding the Environmental Protection Agency broke the law and allowing them to be on the market. I'll go down here a little bit. A federal judge in Arizona ruled Monday that the EPA made a crucial error in reapproving dicamba, finding the agency did not post it for public notice and comment as required by law. U.S. District Judge David Berry wrote in a 47-page ruling that it was a very serious violation. If the EPA had done a full analysis, probably would not have made the same decision. Berry wrote the EPA did not allow many people who are deeply affected by the weed killer, including specialty farmers, conservation groups, and more, to comment. The lawsuit originally was filed by farmer and conservation groups. Time and time again, the evidence shown is that dicamba cannot be used without causing massive and unprecedented harm to farms, as well as endangering plants and pollinators. All right, so we see all this. It is done. Now, what that means for you, the applicator, whether you're in turf, sports turf, or lawn care, it doesn't really matter. Here's the thing, is that dicamba that comes in our 3-way formulations is going to be such a low use rate. I don't think they're going to come pull that off out of bottles anytime soon, right? So there's no reason
Also,
to
Matt-
build a barbed wire fence around your property and hang up signs that say, come and get it, motherfucker, or I'll smoke you, or you don't have to go that far. We're not
Ruby
there.
Ridge turf.
It's not happening. Yeah. Everybody
Here's
calm
the other
down.
thing.
We're going to be okay.
Here's the other thing, Matt. Typically, broadleaf herbicide is used mostly in spring and fall. And provided people are intelligent about their timing, usage of dicamba-based products should not cause a problem, because spring and fall are the times of the year when the susceptible broadleaf crops are less susceptible. I mean, because the issue with doing dicamba tolerant crops was that, imagine having Extendamax being applied upwind of a field that has a dicamba intolerant crop, and that crop is at a critical growth stage, because it is not only about the volatility. I'm thinking it's more about straight up spray drift. Okay? Straight up spray drift, because unfortunately, here's what I've seen in commercial production. And what I've seen in commercial production is, can you all imagine these high boom rigs going through a field and they're applying about 10 to 15 gallons per acre
At 25 miles an hour.
Okay, and the other issue is that, of course, here's what I've noticed about applicators in general. They think their dick is bigger the lower the spray volume they use. Okay? They think their dick is bigger.
There might be some truth to that there, Ray. Just kidding.
Yeah. So I have a micro penis because I prefer to apply at 100 gallons per acre when possible.
And that's what
There.
that's a Permagreen guy.
That's what I. Yeah, but then
They actually
the
named
reason
actually,
for
Permagreen named the Magnum after Matt because he was such a long time.
Yeah. But the truth is that I know quite well in ag production, especially on larger fields, the name of the game is how low can you go? But then the lower your spray volume, the higher your drift risk. Okay?
Higher
your
the drift risk. And tractor speed, sprayer speed is not something that is talked about often, right?
No,
And again,
no.
in the effort to cover as many acres as possible, as quick as possible, and I get all the precision spraying in the world. At some point, the physics of trying to manage a controlled droplet at 25 miles an hour or 30 miles an hour becomes a really difficult thing to do, right? At 5 miles an hour, it's hard enough. You start adding factorial complexity with every mile an hour faster you go.
Right. I mean, calibration is a function of speed and pressure, right? Deposition of that droplet is a completely different thing altogether, right? So I think that's going to be
Yeah, and so
has
you
and always will
see
be a major factor.
this, I could have seen this coming, and I can also see where there are also 2,4-D tolerant crops as well. And you know what, Matt? I think the registrations for these 2,4-D products that are labeled for application to 2,4-D tolerant crops, they are going to go the way of dicamba as well. Because, guys, I don't care what it is, be it dicamba or 2,4-D, if that drifts onto a susceptible broadleaf crop or orchard crop, guess what? It's going to damage that crop and cause yield loss in that field no matter what. I don't care the chemistry. So I could have told anybody that, are we sure we want to be putting out these dicamba and 2,4-D tolerant crops? Are we sure we want to do that? I already had misgivings about the glyphosate tolerant crops as is. But you know,
It's
but dicamba, yeah, but dicamba and 2,4-D, that's yet another level of I guess potential phytotoxicity to susceptible crops. So, man, why am I not surprised? And why am I not surprised at the difficulties and complexities of keeping such an application on target during summer weed control season? I mean,
Yeah,
so-
and even if you go back 30 or 40 episodes, you'll hear us talk about like, oh yeah, so they expanded the label for dicamba. Surely nothing bad is going to happen there. If anyone has messed around with Banville long enough, you've curled something that you didn't intend to. I mean, hell, forsythias are probably the most sensitive thing in the entire world to any phenoxy herbicide, and boy, Lord have mercy. I mean, you get within visual sight range of a forsythia, and you even have Banville in your tank, and you can watch it start to curl and recoil away from you as you drive past. I mean, it's just it's one of those things. So I'm not shocked that this has happened. I'm not shocked that they said, you know what, we're done. I mean, to be honest,
can't do this.
One of those things.
You can't do this. Yeah, because
you could have predicted it without. You didn't even have to flip a coin on it.
Yeah, because Matt, in another time, guess who used to use tons of Banville?
Oh yeah, you and me both. You and me both.
Yeah, right. I mean, I used to do it.
If you've sprayed Centipede and St. Augustine, you've had to reach for Banville more than once or twice because you don't have a lot of options.
Yeah, well, back then, working in the early 1990s, Matt, I didn't have any good
late 2000s.
No, I didn't have any good choices, and so when I had to deal with recently sprigged St. Augustine that had broadleaf weeds, I didn't have a lot of good choices because in the 1990s, no such thing as Celsius, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no such thing as MSM labeled for turfgrass, at least not here in Hawaii. So I didn't have a choice. But at that time, I knew what I was fooling with because I saw Banville on the farm, so I knew how powerful that stuff was. And so I was the one that measured carefully and picked the times and days when I would even make that application rather carefully. And here's an interesting one for you, Matt. I would never want to do Banville before heavy rain. Never.
No. That's not one of the ones you're like, hey, it's going to rain this afternoon. Let's hurry up and get out as much Banville as possible to let it get watered in. All right. Anyway, we need to check out this week's. Boy, in our side chat, we've got a lot of creativity going on right now, and I think it might pertain to this. It may not. I have no idea what our Joe Knows Turf is, but let's check out this week's favorite segment. Always a show favorite, Joe Knows Turf. I still want to know what was talked about on Reddit.
Joe Knows Turf.
DeMay, did you read into figure out where that dude was coming from on Reddit?
I did not. I will have to dive into that.
Joe Knows Turf.
Joe does know turf. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight, because we've been away for a few weeks, it is a special double feature of Joe Knows Turf because these things are connected and I just can't make this shit up. I just can't make it up. All right. So we are going to start here. If you haven't listened, viewed, or experienced the show prior to this, Joe Knows Turf is a segment in which we take some clips from YouTube, some cut-ups from social media, and are asked to give our thoughts and opinions along with any type of supporting scientific evidence that we can. Dr. Travis Shaddix has taken this to the extreme and done a much better job with it. We have more fun than he does, and I say that lovingly because it's really hard to get Dr. Shattuck to say fuck. He can say it pretty easily. But he'll say it.
Sure,
He'll
there's a
say it if
price.
you ask him to.
I'm sure there's a
Yeah,
price.
I mean, it's probably $20. The swear jar goes the other way too. You can pay people to swear. All right, so in this week's
Hey,
segment,
son.
we're gonna talk a little bit about some folks that we've talked about quite a bit in the nearly 3 years that we've done these shows, and some interesting information that's shared here by our friends at My Soil here on a recent podcast with our acquaintance and pillmaster extraordinaire Alan Hain. So let's go ahead and roll that. Let's roll the first one here, J Pink.
It's not like northern Washington can be, for sure. And then on the potassium side, I'm a big proponent of potassium. I've just seen such dramatic changes in potassium, and it's been a very underestimated nutrient for a long time. Not just in turf, but in agriculture as well. And that's one of the areas where our technology really shines on. Not only is it available, but can that soil release it to match the demands that plant has on that soil? And that's really where the resins really shine in our test. And if you think about traditional testing, they take a soil into the lab, they dry it, they grind it. And what happens is when they dry it and they grind the soil, especially with clays, they dry it and it opens up those clay layers. And then they do they add a chemical. And what that does is it starts to pull nutrient out of those layers that will never be available to the plant. So you're over measuring or overestimating that.
Acetic acid, which certainly root exudates have no measurable amounts of acetic or citric or oxalic or never mind. I died. All right, shut up, Matt.
Actual availability of nutrients to the plant when we change the chemical and physical characteristic of a soil. So just to kind of tie in the deficiencies and what we see and what you might not see on another test, and why we might rec a specific nutrient or ratio of nutrients that another test might. I think we have some very big advantages in our methodology, and it's universal across all soil types. So from Florida to Washington State, It doesn't matter. Our test is going to account for your soil's pH, the organic matter level, CEC, all of those components, and combine that measure.
Yikes!
Go back for like 10 seconds, and I want you to watch Matt, his partner on the left here. I don't know what's going on with his head here. If he's just having a neck spasm, if he's shaking his head no, or if he's trying to signal in Morse code that he's been kidnapped and needs help. Go ahead and
State, it doesn't matter. Our test is going to account for your soil's pH, the organic matter level, CEC, all of those components, and combine that measurement into one result, and which makes it very dynamic, and it also makes it very easy to relate to our customers so that they can make.
I have a friend, Dave, that already he can poo-poo the idea of even their pH measurement being accurate. I have a friend named Dave. Who,
well, go ahead.
And he literally did close to a accredited lab standard test of soil, and the pH measurement that he got from My Soil was, I believe, half a point different from the accepted pH test procedure.
And let me give a little bit more context here, right? So we have a tremendous community of people that listen to us. No one listens to us. The ones that do are psychopathic or
crazy,
have extreme obsessive compulsive disorder, or some other neuro spicy something going on their inside. Don't we all, right? And so anyway, as they have come into our community, a lot of these people like to do reinforcement testing, right? To either co-sign or come up with a counter argument to some of the bullshit that they hear or see or have been preached to, or whatever the case may be. And a lot of them have been related to the My Soil test versus using other more traditional methodologies that do not include the ion exchange resin test. And it is with a high degree of repeatability. We have seen a very consistent half a pH point off on pH measurements. And that is not one person that has done it. It is multiple people in our community that have pulled multiple tests. And every one of them have been off 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 in wildly
logarithmic
different
scale.
directions. And so exactly, pH is logarithmic, right? So that is a huge margin of error. That is not good. That is no good. That is not where you want to be. So I just want to make that point there, that when we talk about this, it's not just something that we're saying that, oh, we're citing someone else's data. I was like, no, this is actually people in our community that have repeated this test tens and 20s of time, and that we all get to watch and kind of have a chuckle about it and say, wow, that is actually amazing. And I think now they specifically claim that their pH test is in a plus or minus half a point degree of accuracy, if I recall correctly.
What?
It might have pulled that,
They-
but I think that
Half
is
a point, Matt?
in the literature. Yeah.
Half a point. And you know
Yes.
what, Matt? At that point, if a pH test is a half a point in deviation, then that pH test entirely is trash. It's garbage, because you just said it. It's logarithmic, and as a logarithmic test, you are off or wrong by 50 times if you are half a point off. So, and furthermore, here's the problem of having a pH test that's that off. Matt, and Ryan, can you imagine what would happen if somebody that does not need lime, for example, proceeds to
Yeah.
start throwing down a half a ton of lime per 1,000 square foot because his pH test told him that, hey, your soil is acid, when in fact, this established credible test tells you, no, you have a pH of 6.5. You don't need to put lime. You shouldn't put lime. Don't. I mean, what are the ramifications of that? Somebody that doesn't need lime then goes to throw down a half a ton of lime per acre.
So I think the point here, okay, I think we've kind of lobbed our criticisms out there and concerns, if you will. The cause for concern here with these tests is people will start undoubtedly pushing them through affiliate marketing and other things. Is that the literature that's out there right now? There's a new meta literature paper that's come out in 23. It kind of talks a little bit about this at greater length. In turfgrass, right? We are making educated guesses at best, and this is across all soil tests too, but more so to the point with this ion resin because it's proprietary, right? They've basically said, "Hey, this is our stuff. We know what it is. We'll set the scales. We'll set the correlation data, and the rest of you damn, just trust us, right?" And hey, listen, I'm okay with trust, but verify. And so in that situation, we've got a test that may not elicit the most accurate results. Okay, we've asserted that and we've seen that. Okay, the other part too here is that the phosphorus thing, or excuse me, potassium, where Chris really amps himself up and says, "Hey, you're not going to get all the potassium you need. This, that, and the other thing." It's true. Potassium is a very mobile element, right? Especially in more coarsely textured soils, it's going to move through and leach very easily. Okay. That being said, we have reams and reams of scientific data that support that it's very hard, if not impossible, to induce a potassium deficiency in turf. So, how much effort and emphasis should we place on it? And that brings me to part 2. Okay. Here comes part 2 from somebody who is a dear friend. So much so that we felt compelled, driven to put his face on a t-shirt to celebrate our show and what he's given back to us in the community. Travis.
Love you,
over
Travis.
Budget Lawns. We do too. All right. Go ahead and play this. We're going to pick this up halfway through his new video here. Basically, this is you're doing too much to fertilize your lawn. a case against milorganite and soil tests for grass. All right, so Travis is a staunch advocate to not soil test your lawn and to, I think before he was applying like 13 or something that was very basic, which is fine.
111.
Nothing wrong with 111. But if you do it over and over and over and over again, you might have some problems. All right, let's pick it up here about halfway through this video from Trav.
Still not the most important reason why I've moved away from biosolids. As the years have gone by and I become more and more educated in lawn care, I start to rethink
I thought he was against education.
That's number one.
I thought he was
keep him going.
I thought he was a teacher. I thought he was
He's
a
on the
teacher.
roll.
So how can he be against education, man? That's contradictory.
and I become more and more educated in lawn care, I start to rethink some
Time's
of my
up, it's over.
practices. In particular, the use of phosphorus. Getting a soil test done every year to drive my fertilizer decisions has just never been a good enough explanation for me. I've always held true to the eye tests. If your lawn looks like it needs to be fed, then feed it. If it looks full and healthy, then leave it alone. Trust me, I've heard over and over again how irresponsible I'm being with that advice, especially from the staunch soil test believers. But as it turns out, maybe we've all had it wrong in one way or another. New lawn care channels are popping up on YouTube all the time. But it wasn't until I started watching Dr. Travis Shaddix over at Turfgrass Epistemology that this all made sense to me.
Oh shit. I mean,
A pissed off homology.
here's what's gonna happen. Watch Travis twist something, and good old Travis.
No. Just wait.
Shaddix would lose his mind.
I just want you to wait. Be ready for the knee pads and all the throw pillows for the couch to be laid on the floor so that he can. I hope I painted experience before with the throw pillows on the floor in front of the couch. It's a great thing. It's a great sign that things are going to turn out well for you, even for Travis.
All the time. But it wasn't until I started watching Dr. Travis Shaddix over at Turfgrass Epistemology that this all made more sense to me. He provided real evidence that finally got me rethinking my approach and practices to phosphorus. Now, I'm going to keep my comments on him short so as not to misquote him or put words into his mouth. As he explained things, research indicates that soil test numbers don't always provide a reliable means to dictate the nutrients your grass needs from fertilizer. In other words, those soil test numbers don't mean much. Most of the time, what your turf grass really needs is nitrogen, and that's it. Only when you see a problem in your lawn, the key point being see, should you consider other nutrients to fix it. At which point, perhaps there's an issue with your phosphorus and or potassium levels, and a soil test might help guide you. After learning all this, now I have no reason to regularly apply fertilizers with high potassium and phosphorus levels like a 1010 or 13, much less add a biosolid on top of that. So this season I'll be looking into more nitrogen-rich fertilizers with the other two numbers sitting at 0. Even further, I have no reason to ever perform a soil test on my lawn to dictate my fertilizer decisions, unless, of course, I see something wrong. So
considering how much 13 and biosolids he's applied, he's probably right. He probably never has to test anything again because he'll never be deficient in phosphorus in his lifetime.
Yeah, return your clippings and you're good to go. Bro.
However,
go ahead.
Here's where Travis is gonna fuck up. Is if his soil is acidic already, and he applies a lot of ammonium sulfate without also keeping his pH in range, he's then going to have a problem that he's going to need to soil test to figure out. Because do you know what happens when you apply AMS to highly acidic soils? It don't work. It does opposite of what people want it to do if you apply AMS to an acidic soil. So this is yet another instance of something that is missing. Missing nuance. And the only
I'm a little upset that anything we said of the sort to Travis was immediately dismissed as, you guys are fucking buffoons. It's all an act. We're just trying to have fun, and you're trying to shit on my parade. And now all of a sudden, he has been anointed and to become an ordained minister of sorts. I'm a little I'm jealous, Travis. I'm jealous, man.
We could sit here and pontificate on all the reasons why this makes no fucking sense whatsoever. That, as Aldo pointed out here, that 2022 or 23, Travis was like, I don't care. And now 2024, I care. Okay. I think it's I listen. I think it's good. It is good.
It is good.
And listen, I think if this is the most
I
important
just feel
part
like
here.
a failure.
You listen, you have communication and commitment issues. It's clear. I mean, Travis told you so.
This is true.
But if our very good friend, Dr. Shaddix, can get through to Travis, there is hope for his style and his level of extension to other people. And I just wanted to celebrate this as a Jono's Turf win.
That's a return.
Probably the most
this is a return.
Stubborn MFer out there. And Travis, I see you. I hear you. I know you feel seen. I'm glad you are. We put you on a t-shirt. I hope you wear your t-shirt on a video this year. Please do.
Oh yeah, we sent him one.
I know. Yeah, we sent him one to his house.
Yeah.
I'll encourage you to do that because you raised a bunch of money for kids at St. Jude. So that's another thing.
Thank you
2
for
years
that,
in a row,
Trav,
Trav.
seriously.
2 years in a Trav. But if we was able to get through to Trav, think about the impact that Dr. Shaddix can have on so many more people. Travis is one of the most stubborn SOBs out there. This is a win. I'm seriously. Today's win is brought to you by Dr. Shaddix. Curing the incurable.
I mean, he just had colon cancer cured. As a matter of fact, that was incredible. I thought that stick up his ass would never go away. All right, let's check out this week's returns. It just slid right out, didn't it? Probably came out easier than it got in there. We are back. See, that's my jealousy talking there, Travis. I'm jealous. I just want to make that clear. I'm not mad at you. I'm jealous. That's all. EPA herbicide strategy deadline pushed. This is not a return. I just put it in here to be funny. Out of Jeff City, Missouri, like a college professor giving a student extra time to finish an important term paper, this week a federal district court granted EPA an extension to complete the agency's forthcoming herbicide strategy. The Northern District of California, San Francisco Division is approved a 3-month extension on the EPA's plan attempting to bring herbicide registration in compliance with the Endangered Species Act. We've talked about this before, and here we go. And it freaks me out that San Francisco has anything to do with this. I mean, you can't even keep a fucking Walgreens from having to board up a deodorant, and a Whole Foods can't make it. Then, for God's sake, I want them nothing to do with agriculture at all. In an effort to protect endangered species, do you think San Francisco is capable of protecting endangered species? I just don't.
They can't even keep a damn store open, okay? They cannot even keep a damn store. So it's like, what are they going to do? And again, this is my same question that I asked.
Stock traders. Shout out to Nancy Pelosi. By the way, you can follow her trade. There is an ETF that you can literally buy into that trades on her trades, and it's a great returns this year, as a matter of fact. The EPA.
Here's my question,
man.
Yeah. Here's my question. Again, the people proposing these mandates, what the fuck do they actually eat?
Well, let's see.
I want to know. What do they actually eat? Because I'm guessing that they think that by burdening farmers, and by the way, a lot of our food comes from California. Like it or not, a lot of our food comes from California. And the reason why a lot of our food comes from California is because, for all intents and purposes, most of California is a desert. Okay? However, you're wondering now, why the hell would we want to have food production in a desert? I'll tell you why. It is because in a desert, the grower has absolute control over water. You actually do not want to grow specialty agricultural crops, such as food crops, in a place where you don't have control over water. Because if you don't have control over water, close to harvest, you can have a storm or a series of storms that literally will cause your crops to rot and become unsaleable, and you lose millions of dollars just because it rained that week.
I'll go into a little bit more detail here. The EPA plan will require agricultural herbicide users, namely farmers, to implement mitigation measures such as vegetative filter strips, grass waterways, and field borders. Herbicide users would need to achieve a minimum number of efficacy points, with the EPA assigning 1 to 3 points to each option in its menu of mitigation measures. The number of points required would vary based on the herbicide and the field location. And I'm going to make this clear right here. I don't think there's anything bad about implementing filter strips or grass waterways and field borders. I think all of that is good, right? And I think, one of DeMay's phrases that pays is the velocity of change, right? Velocity of implementation. And that's where problems can arise. But hey, look, the ruling has another 3 months of extension here, and so we'll see how it shakes out. Again, what does the scoring system look like? Are there I don't know. I think I've seen a lot of stories written about it, but I haven't seen a lot of the actual court writings of it and the exact written proposal and the exact grading system. And so that
Matt.
part kind of has me nervous. Of sorts.
Okay, you know what's making me nervous, Matt? The idea that something besides the actual crop is within proximity of the field. That makes me extremely nervous because I've had to deal with production of a specialty crop. And you know what the last thing I want near the production field, Matt? Last thing I want near the production field is any kind of foreign vegetation. I don't want it.
Yep. In the next one here, of course, man, hey, this is I love reading. This is out of the LAist. Cities can ban turfgrass. Turfgrass is going to be banned, but PFAS, yeah, we're going to keep that one going. Gavin Newsom last week passed on a chance to limit the use of so-called forever chemicals in legions of plastic products when he vetoed a bill that would have banned them in synthetic lawns. His veto of an environmental bill that overwhelmingly passed the legislature underscores California's convoluted guidance on the plastic turf some homeowners, schools, and businesses use in place of grass in a state accustomed to drought. And by the way, when they had all that rain the other day, what kind of infrastructure improvements have they made to be able to retain some of that water to be able to use it on their
Zero, Matt.
Whoops.
Zero.
So we'll ban grass, but interesting. And they'll pay money to make the switch over to battery powered equipment. But for Christ's sake, we are not going to do anything with potential rainfall that may happen except send it right back into the fucking ocean, man. Get that off our land. We are not equipped to handle that. Get it the fuck out.
Okay, here's the thing about the California waterway situation. Here is the insanity. Did you know that the California waterways are literally under a mandate such that most of the water is required to be let downstream? I mean, the rules or the laws are similar to the bullshit that I deal with here in Hawaii. Because, every time I have one of those 1 week worth of rains, you know what I'm always thinking? Why the hell can't we put all of this damn water in a dam, pun intended, and one, use that to generate hydroelectric power, and two, store that for when we actually need water in this state? Why can't we do that? No, we cannot do that because the law is we must preserve natural stream flow. Anything else can go get fucked. It's all about preserving natural stream flow. I mean, never mind the people that need water, never mind people that need electricity. No, we need to preserve the habitat of this obscure little aquatic organism that doesn't mean shit to anybody.
I want to read this comment here. It says, emerging research is making it clear that artificial turf poses an environmental threat due to its lack of recyclability and presence of toxins such as lead and PFAS. Local governments will again be able to regulate artificial turf in a way to both protect our environment in the face of drought and climate change, but also by preventing further contribution to our recycling challenges and toxic runoff. It's hilarious because it's like, hey, look, boys, we are going to do a great job of regulating the holy shit out of real grass. That is a real solution. Artificial turf, we need some more time to figure this out. But we do know that real grass is a big enough contributor to problems in our state that we need to go ahead and regulate the holy shit out of this. We'll get to that, but this takes priority. Fuck you, man. Fuck you.
There's so much going on, and there's stuff in this, not this particular case in California, but as a at a national level, right? That I'll try and keep it broad, okay, in the sense that there are people with the ability to provide research funding and industry funding and other things that are sitting on their hands on this right now because they don't view synthetic turf as some sort of existential threat to turf grass, even though it's a crop and it's maintained by people that have jobs, everything like that. I think the one other thing too that's interesting, and there is definitely a movement I see within the industry right now and within external forces, right? So governments, elected officials, this, that, and the other thing, grassroots support, for natural and things like that. What I mean to say there is that I think that the synthetic turf manufacturers, the folks that are in that side of the industry, are much more connected and aligned with their efforts to stall things like this or placate and do other things, right, to obfuscate the issues that are at hand and that we're becoming aware of. Okay. So the problem is that natural grass isn't. Okay. There is no, consortium. You have Turf Grass Producers International, which is the sod growers. You have these larger trade organizations like golf course superintendents, sports managers, so on and so forth. But there is no concerted effort amongst them collectively or respectively to really push for it. There's a lot of bitching and complaining. Hey, Aaron Rodgers blew out his ACL, all this other, his Achilles, whatever, all this other stuff. But nobody is sitting there carrying the water and saying, hey, yes, you need to ban this stuff, but also you need to understand what the ramifications are of keeping turf and how we can manage it if we have more research dollars to come up with something that, is more drought tolerant, right? Or doesn't require as much water, or, doesn't require as many pesticides in order to be able to manage it correctly, whatever the case might be. Again, it's very similar to the argument that we had at the very top of the show, is that we're taking the easy route, right? And from a sustainability point of view, right, we're taking the shittier route by far by choosing synthetic turf in a lot of these cases, okay, without leaning into and saying, how can we help natural grass succeed in these areas, right? And what are the benefits of doing so? And not only that, but what other, other effects can we have, right? So anyway, there's a lot more I want to say on that, but I can't.
Yeah, I know, and I'm going to end it on this, and we do have to wrap the show up. But the one thing I'm going to make a point of is that it's absolutely fucking insane that growing grass has to become a fight against the government, right? and that the people who are better at fighting and utilizing the government to your advantage are the people that are not growing grass but are installing plastic to take the place of grass. It just sounds fucking ridiculous from a 30,000 foot view. And I do not understand. Like, to me, the most insane statement of it is the fact that we have to come together and defend real grass as a viable option.
We have to
I'm like, does
we have to
that not
defend.
sound nuts? Like,
No, that
it just
sounds
sounds nuts.
insane. That sounds insane, Matt. And you know what that
It's like,
reminds
are
me
we going to
of?
start implanting fucking babies in utero into fucking plastic robots to take over delivery of them because
Me,
it's going to save X number of lives to do that? Are we going to give up on that? I don't know. It sounds so
I don't know, Matt.
dystopian to me and
You know,
fucking
you know,
weird.
it is dystopian because recently, late one night, I had a chance to watch the Dr. Seuss classic, The Lorax.
I
And
thought Dr. Seuss got banned.
no, but you know what was horrifying to me about that entire movie? Their entire town had artificial turf and fake trees. Okay? Their whole town, artificial turf and fake freaking trees. And
They ran out of
Fake
oxygen.
trees.
yeah, fake trees, Ryan. And on top of that, the asshole who mandated that the town be fake grass and fake trees, his last scam, or the one that got him axed, was he then sold his town bottled air. Okay,
Like,
bottled,
what
bottled,
is that? That's like Spaceballs, right?
yeah, like
It's gone from
Spaceballs,
suck
but
to blow.
yeah, but okay, you cover entire towns with artificial turf. I'm trying to think now, what is that going to do to ambient temperature in that town? And I'm keeping this in the context of, isn't this the same state that is telling people you have to use less electricity? I mean, please make it make sense. Okay? First of all, they're telling people you got to get rid of your gas and diesel engine vehicles. Number one, got to get rid of your gas, and you got to get rid of your gas powered turf equipment. That got to go too. And then finally, on top of that, you got to get rid of your natural grass. Therefore, the air temperature in your neighborhoods is going to go up. But we also don't have enough electricity so that you can run climate control. So therefore, you all get to fucking cook to death and die in your own house. I mean, please make it make sense, Matt.
No, I think that's a perfect way to end this. Is that you're all going to cook to death and die in your house. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, Google, whatever. I don't know. The last thing I want to say to us, don't smoke crack. Y'all have a good one. We'll see y'all on Thursday. Bye.
Those $1 bills don't go as far in the ass crack anymore because of inflation.
There's
No,
a nail
they don't.
stuck in Travis's ass.
I felt like so I wasn't gonna do the Travis thing. I hadn't watched it yet. I was gonna just save it or something, but I was like, fuck it. I was sitting there,
Send it,
I
send
put
it,
on, I
Ryan.
put it
Go
on,
for
and I'm
it.
listening to two tracks at the same time. I'm listening to that, and I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be like an old school after show where I just send Matt right over the fucking edge.
Yeah,
What a fucking
trying to be a little more
bag.
self-deprecating there with it, but God Almighty, it's like, you fucking scumbag, dude. You fucking scumbag. You sit and spun, didn't you? Sat and spun. That's
I told you, throw those throw pillows on the floor. Throw those nice little couch pillows on the floor. Get down there and do your work, son.
What do we got for titles here, Jay Pink?
All right. Ones. There we go. Is this the booty picture episode?
Yes.
Human degrading filth.
Wash your
Longhorn.
balls, you sick bastard.
Get jizzy with it. Painting walls. Rhymes with dick. Grower not shower taints crops.
Jesus Christ.
Thank you, J Farm.
It
Thank
just
you,
can't
J
be
Farm.
manure. This shit has to hit the fan. Farmers giving France the sloppy seconds. Organic spermicidal lube. Can I
So,
say that on
whiskey.
air?
So,
Malaria eats hydroxychloroquine like Skittles.
That was COVID.
Hypothetical. Please, God, let me spray Daiquan. The brand
get us
new,
canceled.
same old shit. Sonar, Revenge of the Milfoils. Ocellacor, the Milfoils strike back. You'll pry this dicamba out of my cold, dead hands.
probably some people have already said that.
Oh, yeah.
Irma Green Magnum, the new Trojan size?
They're discontinuing the Magnum too. It's sad day, Telly.
Jesus.
If Telly is on anything less than a Permagreen Magnum, I'll be very upset.
Oh, I know.
Just doesn't. just
Micro penis hit home.
micropenis hit home.
Permagreen is my Viagra. No one is going to plus one this. Low volume output. Valley Girl is pro potassium. I love potassium this much.
Aldo.
We got a new sticker thanks to J Pink and his powers of deduction.
That was a good one, too.
Let's see. You serious?
Trust the scientists. My soil will get you close. Perfect edging with my soil. I don't know how we would make this a show title, but this is winning right now. 2023 Travis.
This is
I don't
winning, yeah.
care. 2024 Travis. I care now.
I care
I
now.
think
Maybe it
think
just
you
becomes
you, you,
this.
you leave out all of it and you just put like there's no burn and return, none of that. You just leave it. 2023 Travis, I don't care. 2024 Travis, I care now. That's the title.
That's the title. Yep.
Yeah. Burn and return comes second to that.
Travis says he saw the lights. Budget common sense. Microdosing dicamba approved by EPA for San Francisco weed.
There you go.
2 inches of rain and Aldo is on his way to Hawaii. All natural pesticide banned for use on artificial turf. You're all going to cook to death and die in your house. And then Telly gave us a photo. We're doing this.
Yep.
All is
Right.
one line.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to.
Yep.
It's good.
Yep. We have to.
I wish we could.
Good
Can
job.
we insert? Is there a clip? I have no idea where it's at in the show. I'll see if I can find it, or somebody can find it. Evie probably knows exactly where it's at. The "I don't care" clip from when he was on our show.
Oh, I
Can
know.
we lead with that
I'm
and
sure
make
it
that
is
the-
in the Discord.
I know the there's a GIF
The
of it.
GIF is, yeah.
Oh,
The
I
GIF
gotta
is,
figure it
yeah.
It's once
there's a GIF.
it's if you go through
That-
and you leave the
right
live
there.
tab on, it's when
Right there.
It's when he's
that
in, it's when
that
drivers
GIF,
bust
he
him
says,
up.
"I don't care."
See if I can find it real quick. If I don't know, I bet you Evie can find it real quick. Let's see. We'll find it. We'll get it in.
yeah. As soon as you find it, JPink, I can throw that in there and upload it. So it'll be an easy one.
Fucking Travis.
That will be perfect.
We'll we'll rely on the hive mind for that one because I have no idea where it's at either.
Oh yeah. Find it.
Like I said, I bet you Evie's probably got it down to at least plus or minus 30 seconds.
Yeah.
probably.
Most likely.
All right, boys. Who's on
All right.
Thursday again?
Lawn Care Monster.
Oh, that's
Okay,
right.
we got
he's
Lawn
coming
Care
back.
Monster, and then the next
And-
one we have
UD Turf Guy.
yeah, UD Turf Guy.
John
Excellent.
And
Emerson.
then,
Oh boy.
and then are we going Tuesdays or Wednesdays after that?
Wednesdays. We'll go Wednesdays.
Wednesdays?
Wednesday.
Okay.
Wet and Wild
Yeah.
Wednesdays.
Wednesday.
Wet and Wild Wednesdays. That's right.
Ooh.
Sounds good. I'm gonna reach out to the Fiverr artist and I'm gonna get some new album art done. So,
Ooh.
all right.
All right, everyone.
see y'all
you
on
have a good
Thursday.
night.
Bye.
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 Night.